It's very difficult to address complex social issues or postulate new philosophies or manage outpourings of verbosity on Twitter given the character limit, so hence this video. Earlier today, Danny Kaye tweeted, "Not enough white people call out racism when it rears its ugly head. Yes, it may be uncomfortable, and yes, you may be the singular unpopular opinion, but stand firm and have courage. We can no longer be silent. Worlds apart or partners." I have issues with this tweet. The first thing is not enough white people. What would be enough white people? Let's assume there are 5 million white people. If 10 white people do that, is that enough? 10 white people call out racism when it rears its ugly head, will that be enough? If 20 people call it out, if 30 people, maybe 100 people, maybe 100,000 people, maybe 2 million, maybe 2,534 people, maybe 4,674,982 people would be enough. Perhaps 4,999,999 would still not be enough, because there would still be that one person. Do you want to police that and then say that is still not enough? Because then you will find that there is not enough of anything being said about anything, which means that we live in a world of not enoughness, and we can all agree on that, move forward, and never again have to say that not enough. We have to have limits to that. But it's the problem with calling out something not enough and then not giving any statistical support for that. Then yes, it may be uncomfortable, and yes, you may be the singular unpopular opinion. Singular unpopular opinion, I do take issue with that, because on the contrary, it has become a very popular thing to do. For a white guy to call out white people on racism, or alleged racism I would rather say, has become an extremely popular thing to do. It will get you some exposure in the media. It will make you the darling of so many, and I see many white people on social media who've actually made it a thing to just call out against white racism, because every time those naughty badges and the clicks come in, and it's like, oh, you're so good, you're so nice for having said that. It's definitely not an unpopular opinion. It is in fact one way to get courage, but it's a way that has become so lame, so weak, that it does get a lot of people less support than it did in the past. So we do need new ways of achieving that. We can no longer be silent. I agree, we should no longer be silent. Hashtag worlds apart or partners. Right, now in reply to that, this is a thing I do often. I like turning things around. I like putting the shoe on the other foot just to see what it feels like. I said, not enough black people call out racism when it rears its ugly head. Yes, it may be uncomfortable, and yes, you may be the singular unpopular opinion, but stand firm and have courage. We can no longer be silent. Hashtag worlds apart or equals. Racism, there is a fringe group of thinkers who believe that black people are incapable of racism. You can tune out right now, because obviously there is nothing in this for you. I do believe that black people are fully capable of racism, and I believe it happens a lot. The evidence is all around us. You can find that on social media as well. The thing is, however, that when white people commit racism, the wave of indignation is massive, and it becomes national news, and it hits the front pages. And when black people are racist, it gets a lot less attention. Every now and then, if it's some CEO who talks to a white beggar through a window, as we had the other day, okay, that's the great thing. It's almost a sort of a token. The rest of the time, it doesn't really exist. But I'll get to that later, because I have somewhat more to say about that. Nevertheless, in reply to that, Danny said, "See what you're doing here, Chris, and while I totally agree with your net rework of my tweet, you may have missed that my comment reflects my reality and what I see and hear around me as a white South African. Are we brave enough to call our own out if they perpetuate behind closed doors? Yes, we are brave enough to call them out when they perpetuate behind closed doors. And in my reality and what I see and hear around, well then, Danny, maybe you should revise your social circle. Maybe you're just hanging around with these racists too often at those white braais, you know? Just like change the social circle. Get some black guys in there. I do believe you do. There's always been that feeling about you, but evidently not enough in terms of your experience, and I would sincerely recommend you address that in as much as it is a reflection of the company you keep. But yes, we have to call it out behind closed doors. But I think the most important thing, and this is really the object of what I'm trying to achieve with this little video, is let's look at the replies and the comments and the responses to your tweet and my tweet and this little thing. It's not a big thing, but it's a little thing, but let's just weigh the responses. I think a quick glance would reveal that it has done nothing for social cohesion in South Africa. In fact, it has fanned the flames of hate and vitriol and annoyance and every other social pestilence just a little bit higher. It hasn't actually helped. And I have an idea about why this is the case. I think the reason is because white people in South Africa feel targeted at this stage. And now I hear a chorus of indignation going, "Oh, you feel targeted?" Yes, we do. And I'm saying we because I'm a white guy. Every time I see a white guy sit in a car and say, "Yeah, white people racist too much, you know, and you should call it out," it's like, I'm not a racist. My friends aren't racist. We don't sit around a bar and talk racist things. So it annoys me that because I am white, I can't help it. Yeah? And it annoys me when there are these statements made about my people and a general feeling is being made about my people all the time. And for example, I think you're a Jewish guy, Danny. If you call out stuff on Jewish folks, it's immediately, no, you can't go for the group, you can't do that. If you do it about black folks, no, you can't do that. But it's somehow, when you're a white guy, you see it internationally, it's just, it seems okay. And fair enough, maybe that's the way it is. But what's happening is that, what is happening behind closed doors is that white people are becoming hurtful of that. They're becoming like, yeah, now I have to hear that again. And it doesn't help. It's not constructive. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I think racism isn't anywhere near as prevalent as many people think it to be. I know I'm not racist. I know my friends are not racist. So where are these racists? Bring them here. Let's do a whack-a-mole on these people. Where are they? I don't know who they are because they're definitely not in my circle of friends. And I can't remember when, maybe in the 80s, the last time I was at a braai, when someone said some big-ass racial thing and it's like, oh, well, that's not cool. So it's not as prevalent as you think, but you find one individual who goes off on a bunch of cops. Okay, yes, that, you see, there's your racist. There are parties in parliament in South Africa who, as a party, say racist things and come with racist positions. What about that? What about the fact that racism in South Africa is institutionalized? What about the fact that there are laws? Because what is your definition of racism? I mean, blah, blah, blah. You can go on and on and on. Well, I'm not going to go with a definition with racism, although I could. I'm not going to do it for this exercise. I'll just say it is definitely racist when you bar a group of people or any individual from opportunities in their life simply based on their skin color. I don't care if you're qualified. I don't care about your attitude. I don't care what a good person you are. I don't care about the excellence you've strived for all your life. Simply because you are white, sorry, this door is closed. That is a practical, real-life manifestation of racism, which means racism in this country is institutionalized. And it's being tolerated because it pretends to address the wrongs of the past, but it hasn't. It is, now I'm getting all sidetracked again, but it's enriched a small black elite and caused untold problems for this country because now there aren't the skills. We've chased away people with skills and there aren't the skills to take that place, and that's why the infrastructure is one of the reasons why the infrastructure in this country is falling apart. And then you sit like me, a white guy there, and you're like, why can't we all just get along? Why can't we just work together and try to improve this? Why can't we say things that, instead of further driving society apart, things that will actually have a more cohesive effect on society? Why not do that? I think there are more constructive ways to do this. Now, you've had your little tirade in your car. I've had my little tirade here on this video, and I don't think society is any the better for it, but I can't keep quiet because I'm tired of it. I think South Africans should try a different approach. Hey cat, don't do that. See my cat. He's white and he's black, and he's in harmony with himself. Anyway, I think I've said what I want to say. I know while I'm speaking, I'm aware of what can be said to me, and I'm like, okay, well, I'll address that with you, and I'll address that with you. It's so difficult to do that, but it's about taking a path that improves social cohesion, and it's about not calling out people, and it's about not putting the burden too much on a certain group all the time, and it's about not ignoring institutionalized problems and then pointing to little individual problems that isn't even a reality of most people's lives. Thanks for listening.